Ladies and gentlemen, before we get to a really interesting Newsweek article and a typical fact checking article, I want you to go, well, if you're on the upload watching this, because this is a live stream, just type in H.A. Goodman, Federalist. You can see my writing in the Federalist. Hit subscribe to this channel right now, to my super chat. Thank you so much. I can't do this without you, ladies and gentlemen. So, if you enjoy these live streams, your super chat is greatly, greatly appreciated. Super chat is right underneath where you type messages in the chat. Ladies and gentlemen, I wrote an article that explained exactly, so you could see all the articles that have been published of mine in the Federalist. Federalist is a fantastic publication. There's an article right here. Comey and McCabe should be charged with, to defraud Americans, with conspiring to defraud Americans. I explain the legal statute. So hit subscribe to this channel right now. Hit subscribe to the Stock Market Crash channel. I'll have a segment on the Stock Market Crash channel, a very important one, right after this one. The Stock Market Crash channel is below in the pinned comment. If you click on Comey and McCabe should be charged with conspiring to defraud Americans, and read that was written in 2019, April of 2019. The statute is 18 U.S. Code 371. The statute is 18 U.S. Code 371. That's the statute, since there's no actual law against collusion or statute that addresses collusion. They were they were saying that Trump, he was deceiving Americans by colluding with another country. And I wrote about it. Mikey, hello. David, hello. Amazing Colonel, hello. Eric, H526, Luke St. Martin, everybody here, hello. And so here is the statute that Durham could easily indict people already on, because they knew Trump did not work with Putin or was installed by the Kremlin. They knew this. Everyone knew this. They knew this because there was never any evidence that Trump was installed or, that the Kremlin wanted Trump. Not a shred of evidence. And if you point to an intelligence assessment, then you got to listen also to what John Ratcliffe says. Then if there's a Republican administration and they say, well, WMD, you must revere that and then engage in 20 years of counterinsurgency conflict and quagmires. Pointing to an intelligence assessment is absolutely worthless, especially if the people making the evaluation are partisan ideologues like John Brennan and James Clapper, who then just show up on MSNBC and CNN. By the way, if you get kicked off of the chat, or if you get kicked off of the if you get kicked off of the live stream, just log back on or refresh, because for some bizarre reason, the live stream, abruptly ends right when we're about to hit 500 viewers, which it's so bizarre, but that's what happens sometimes. So the problem that Durham faces, and the thing that people don't understand, is that they have to find intent. But the intent was already there. Emily, thank you. They have to find intent. That's the issue. 18 U.S. Code 371 is a statute where you can have a whole bunch of people, whether it's Clapper or Brennan or Comey or Strzok or McCabe or Kleinsmith or Sussman all working for the same cause. Rick, thank you. They're working for the same cause. They're conspiring, working alongside one another without actually saying, we are working to set up and frame Trump. This is what we want to do. Signed, everyone who set up and framed Trump. So you can look up this article, ladies and gentlemen, because I've written a lot about the Durham probe in the past couple of years in the Federalist. Comey and McCabe should be charged with conspiring to defraud Americans. H.A. Goodman, April 12, 2019, in the Federalist. I'll just read this to you. Not long ago, so hold on one second. Not long ago, CNN and MSNBC, along with everyone from the New York Times and Washington Post to Bloomberg and Brookings, cited 18 U.S. Code 371 as a legal statute President Trump had possibly violated. And people, they cited that statute because there wasn't a specific statute pertaining to colluding with Russia. The accusation was so outlandish, there hadn't yet been a statute created. However, it had been used against people who worked against the interests of the American public simply to further a political cause. This statute is broad and deals with two or more people who conspire to defraud the United States or any agency thereof in any manner or for any purpose. That is important, ladies and gentlemen, because you have these people in government who are now saying, and this is the interesting thing about what Durham is doing with Sussman. What Durham is doing with Sussman is he's pitting the FBI against a Clinton-linked attorney. Of course. I mean, it's unbelievable. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. It always happens. It always happens. It's unbelievable. It always happens. Every live stream. Numerous times people get kicked off the live stream. I don't know why, but it happens. But here, after 2 years of the Mueller probe started by leaked memos from James Comey and investigations fostered by a debunked dossier purchased by Hillary Clinton and Democrats, 18 U.S. Code 371 can ironically be used against those who investigated President Trump without evidence he or anyone around him committed crimes associated with the Democratic National Committee hack. So there was no evidence that he was linked to anything Russia did. Aside from saying, like they're saying right now, Trump is praising Putin. So what? If Putin is smarter than mashed potato brains Biden, that's something we have to come to terms with. It's not that difficult to say. So after the alleged hacking, the Daily Beast Kevin Paulson wrote, both the DNC and the security firm CrowdStrike hired to respond to the breach have said repeatedly over the years they gave the FBI a copy of all the DNC images in 2016. Since the U.S. government never analyzed DNC servers in order to confirm the accuracy of those copies, the DNC hired that tech firm. There's an obvious conflict of interest in trusting a firm outsourced by Democrats. Like the Steele dossier, Americans were forced to take the word of people linked to the Democratic Party funding that Russia had something on Trump, and only endless investigations would put the allegations to rest. So they did engage in an effort to defraud people, and the effort was let's just simply take anything that a Clinton operative gives us, funnel that, spread that through government and media, share it with media, share it with government, have both government and media in their symbiotic relationship foment this hysteria. So government operatives would serve as sources, and those sources would then feed information to media, and then media would then publish salacious hit pieces, and then those hit pieces and those articles would then be used by government to investigate further. And that's the issue. That's why, I mean, just type in H.A. Goodman Federalist. You will see this article. It's the author page. You can go to my author page in the Federalist. You'll see this article. And it's an important point to make. There's already a statute that Durham can use. Because in the Sussman case, check it out. 18 U.S. Code 371 can be used if Durham finds out, and it's not that difficult. If Durham finds out that Michael Sussman did not lie, let's say Michael Sussman is about to get indicted, or it's not his trial isn't going well, and he has to prove that James Baker, the top legal counsel for James Comey at the Bureau, knew exactly what he was doing, as did Kleinsmith, as did Strzok, as did McCabe, as did everyone there, including Comey. Because Sussman didn't have to lie. That's the point, people. He didn't have to lie. The allegation is that technically he lied, which is true, almost certainly. But he probably didn't actually deceive anybody. It's not like Michael Sussman went to the FBI and everyone there was loyal to Trump. He went to the Bureau, spoke to the top legal counsel, Baker, and then basically said, look, here's information that we obtained. We think he's speaking to Alpha Bank. So then they investigated, the Bureau investigated, everyone wrote about it. Jake Sullivan, Hillary Clinton, all of these people tweeted about it and then talked about it on Sunday morning shows. And that furthered the absurd narrative, and that helped foster a special counsel, or that helped further the special counsel into Trump. But all of it was done with the understanding that we don't really have anything on Trump, but if we can go ahead and try to create hysteria, that's all we need. And that's the thing. It was hysteria and paranoia that was created. He never worked with Putin or Russia. If you look right now, according to their logic, Putin has exactly who he wants in the White House, exactly who he wants in the Oval Office. Russia just took over 2 regions in eastern Ukraine, and they did so while mashed potato brains Biden was just allowing them to do so. And really, there's not much that mashed potato brains could do other than try to negotiate. But he can't negotiate because Democrats and NATO, unlike Trump, do not want to sign any agreement that says Ukraine won't join NATO. So it's the Democratic Party, and it's NATO, and it's the West that's using Ukraine as a pawn, a tool. And God bless the Ukrainian people. It's not right and it's not fair what NATO and what the U.S. is doing. Now, do I want Russia to invade? No, I don't. Has Putin done terrible things? Yes, he does. He has. Okay, but he did terrible things before President Obama. Very terrible things before President Obama wanted a Russian reset. You can't just go ahead and pretend to care about what a leader does only when it suits you. And that's what Democrats do. Then they play this hilarious, sad, pathetic game. Oh, Trump praised Putin as, CNN. This is a CNN article. Here, CNN, Trump. Trump sides with Putin. Trump sides with Putin. Oh my God, he sided with Putin. Trump praises Putin's strategy in Ukraine. Trump sides with Putin as Biden tries to stop a war. Biden helped create whatever is taking place. Christian O'Brien! Journalism, thank you! Christian O'Brien, thank you! Thank you very much, sir. Christian O'Brien, as always, thank you so much. I hope you're doing well. Christian O'Brien, thank you so much. Greatly, greatly, greatly appreciated. Thank you. To my super chat there, I can't do this without you. Christian, thank you. Have a great day. I hope you're having a great day. Christian O'Brien, thank you so much. So then the many nice things Trump has said about Putin. I mean, look at this blatant propaganda. You'd have to be an ignorant buffoon and fool and complete imbecile to take this seriously. The many nice things Trump has said about Putin. And then I was actually watching an NBC interview of Putin yesterday, and the man, this is so hilarious. The journalist said that Biden looked into Putin's eyes and couldn't see his soul, as if this is hilarious. Joe Biden told Putin he had no soul during I mean, he certainly did not say that. Putin didn't remember that, and number one. Number two, the whole point is it's so absurd. It's so absurd that you would this is like, you know, something that Democrats think is good diplomacy. Okay? First of all, Biden's, heaven forbid, is like seeping through his ears. This man is checked out and he's on autopilot. So, secondly, the main issue is that the last person on planet Earth who could evaluate anyone's soul is Joe Biden. Okay? The man is more than corrupt. Probably, maybe even more corrupt than the Clintons. Who knows? And maybe just as corrupt as George W. Bush and Cheney and Rumsfeld. Because, like I said, I'm not an ideologue. The epicenter of corruption was the Bush administration 20 years ago. It's not like I'm like, vote red no matter who. Like, vote blue no matter who. I'm not going to base my life decisions on a political party or a paradigm of thought. But Joe Biden told Putin he had no soul during odd Kremlin visit. Can you believe this nonsense? Christian O'Brien, thank you. Emily, thank you. Christian O'Brien, so kind of you. So, you have this absolute nonsense where obviously, Russia is getting exactly what it wants because it has a very, very weak president that is at the head, leading the greatest democracy on earth, leading the United States of America. And all of this is taking place, and instead of simply saying, wow, the worst person possible is in the Oval Office, because this didn't happen under Trump. All of this is taking place while Biden is president, while mashed potato brains and bumbling Blinken and Sullivan, these people are completely inept. And anyone who has any knowledge of foreign policy can see this. They're completely and utterly inept. But the good thing, they make up. See, here's the issue. Trump didn't preside over eastern Ukraine being taken over by Putin or the Crimea under President Obama. So this is the second time Biden has presided over a catastrophe. But Biden has made up for it. Mashed potato brains made up for it by saying, I don't think you have a soul. What does that even mean? What on earth does that even mean? If he didn't think he had a soul, why did Democrats come into 2008 and 2009 with a Russian reset? Because according to The Guardian, here you can go ahead. There's a Guardian article. So Putin, Obama may ease Russia-U.S. relations. Right here, 2008. Obama may ease Putin. Obama may. So wait a second. Putin wanted Obama. What? Was President Obama installed by the Kremlin? Oh my God. Was he installed by the Kremlin? Do you see how stupid all of this propaganda is? He's the absolute worst. Okay, mashed potato brains Biden is the absolute worst person to have at this moment in time in U.S. history. The absolute worst person. Because they said, oh, he's about to invade the 16th, the 16th, the 16th. He didn't have a full-scale invasion. He just, through irregular forces and through a counterinsurgency asymmetrical warfare, took over the Luhansk and Donetsk regions of eastern Ukraine. But in 2008, Obama may ease Russia-U.S. tensions, diplomatic relations between Moscow. This is so. Listen to this. Diplomatic relations between Moscow and Washington should improve once Barack Obama takes office. Vladimir Putin today suggested. Gee, what did Putin have on President Obama and Biden? Do you see the nonsense? This is the thing. Democrats have convinced themselves. It is now like a law of nature that Russia wanted Trump, even though the opposite is true. Russia wanted Democrats. Christian O'Brien! HAG installed by Crown. Christian O'Brien! Thank you. Thank you so very much, Christian O'Brien. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Greatly appreciate it. Christian O'Brien, thank you. And so, Christian, thank you so very much. Greatly, 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 greatly appreciate it. I hope all is well. So, usually when there's a change of power in any country, and even more so in a superpower such as the United States, some change can occur. We very much hope that these changes will be positive. And then he writes, we are now seeing these positive signals. They came in with a Russian reset. Okay? And so it's like right there, like you can go, let's go back to so that's just the vapid propaganda, which it's like so meaningless. Oh, you're going to side with our adversaries? Yeah, well, you're not siding by pointing out a fact. Okay? You're not siding with Putin by pointing out that the United States is being led by somebody who is completely and utterly inept, who never had a foreign policy victory in his life. Trump had 3. The Doha Agreement, which Biden completely botched, which reversed U.S. foreign policy. Of 20 years of failed foreign policy, the Doha Agreement reversed. Okay, and there were stipulations there that, of course, Biden ignored. Those 11 Americans and over 100, the 13 Americans and over 100 Afghans should be alive today. Okay? So that's why the Lincoln Project opposes Trump. I will vote for anyone the Lincoln Project opposes. The Bush, Cheney, and Rumsfeld people set the world on a course of never-ending conflict. They've been wrong also on every foreign policy decision. Bill Kristol, the Lincoln Project, Biden, Kerry, they've never been right on any foreign policy decision. It's been a catastrophic. They've been involved in catastrophic failures, from Bush, Cheney, and Rumsfeld to Libya, to what we see right now in 2014 in Crimea, to what we see right now in Donetsk and Luhansk, eastern Ukraine. I mean, they took eastern Ukraine right as mashed potato brains in NATO were continually trying to warn the world that a full-scale invasion would take place. So I mean, it's right. It's happening right in front of everybody. But media has media understood after 2016. If they don't sell their souls entirely to the Democratic Party, Lord knows, like Trump would easily run away with it. If almost every single media publication and cable station isn't firmly opposed to Trump and believing nonsense. And we'll get to the absurd PolitiFact takes in a second. But here, how did the Trump investigation take hold? The answer to this question is a dossier purchased by Trump's political rivals. And then John Solomon wrote a great article. DOJ official warned Steele dossier was connected to Clinton, might be biased. So suspicion alone sparked investigations. And so we were talking about, while Democratic Senator Mark Warner calls the notion that Obama spied on Trump a long debunked spying theory. It's doubtful he and other Democrats would have accepted Bush or Trump obtaining a salacious dossier and then using it to investigate President Obama or Clinton. Of course, Senator Mark Warner would never allow his direct political rivals to obtain information on him or any other Democrat. But when Democrats do it, it's okay. And so what Democrats do is they say, oh, well, there was no surveillance, and then they find out that, oh, by the way, there was. But then they move the goalpost and say, well, it wasn't when Trump was in the Oval Office. Then they find out it was for a certain portion. Well, then they say, well, no one did anything illegal, but that doesn't mean that surveillance didn't take place. They were obtaining information about Trump from the very beginning. And it wasn't just the Alpha Bank Michael Sussman indictments. They were obtaining information about Trump, and they couldn't find anything. They just couldn't find anything to go after Trump on. So they literally made up. The people who lied the most, I mean, you have these people, these extremely intelligent, atheists and political pundits, and you have these extremely intelligent, brilliant people, and they're saying, I've never seen more lies in my life. And then they're believing Clapper and Brennan and Comey and Strzok and McCabe when it comes to Trump or the Mueller probe special counsel. There's not a shred of evidence, by the way, that Facebook ads were directed by Putin, because there were Facebook ads against Trump also. And the motivation of the company was almost certainly to either make money or the motivation couldn't have been to further one political candidate if they also went after Trump. And most of the ads were seen after November of 2016. So, and not one American citizen, not one voter looked at those ads and said, I'm voting for Trump over Clinton. Nobody, they weren't even talking about ads. They were saying all of these people who brought up Facebook ads and Twitter bots were all saying Clinton would win in a landslide. And I was quoted by NPR. Okay, here, you can look at the NPR article. I told everybody. This was an NPR article where they were so certain that Clinton would win in a landslide. This is December 14, 2015. I was saying you can compare what I said with what Nate Silver said. He said, our emphatic prediction is that Trump will not win the nomination. Okay, not only was I saying Trump would win the nomination in the Republican Party, I said, and Clinton is unelectable due to negative favorability polls nationwide and within swing states, H.A. Goodman wrote on Huffington Post in October. I told everybody that Clinton would lose to Trump. And everyone was saying, Well, the only thing they were saying was that it was going to be a landslide victory. And then they said, oh, well, it was Facebook ads and a Russian plot to hack the DNC to inform everyone that Bernie Sanders was cheated. Then Bernie Sanders apologized for Russia helping him. I mean, you couldn't make this up. The absurd lies from people who then pontificate about Trump's lies. I mean, you just can't make it up. You wouldn't have a relationship with somebody. Like, if a wife finds her husband in bed with the entire, like, Hawaiian Tropic modeling, team of, 2015, all right? The husband isn't going to say, well, who told you about this? Oh, Vladimir Putin? Oh, the neighbor? You like the neighbor, don't you? What are you talking about? You're in our own bed with 25 models and there's nobody has clothes on. What are you talking about? Oh, yeah? Oh, yeah? Who told you about this? Putin or the neighbor? You owe me an apology. That's exactly what took place. Everyone in media and in the establishment. And hey, you know what? 538 does good work. There's nothing against Nate Silver or 538. I disagree with them a lot, but a lot of the times they do a lot of good work. But I was telling everyone that Clinton would lose to Trump. And then when Clinton lost, they then had to create the Mueller probe special counsel and all of this nonsense because they were mortified. And I write, Comey, Strzok, McCabe almost certainly conspired to utilize a compilation of salacious and unverified allegations as evidence. And we already know Strzok wanted to stop Trump from becoming president. As reported in the New York Times piece by Michael S. Schmidt, top agents said FBI would stop Trump from becoming president. And then, could you imagine media outrage if Clinton were indicted in 2016 and Strzok said has texted, "We'll stop Clinton." And then here, it's right here. See a pattern? Bureau officials leaking information for political purposes while using a dossier purchased by Clinton should never have been the hallmark of a 2-year investigation into a duly elected president. Now that endless probes have resulted in zero evidence Trump colluded with Vladimir Putin for the DNC or Facebook ads, America needs the truth about the origins of the Mueller probe. Without Trump declassifying further documents, the public record alone is enough to charge Comey, Strzok, McCabe under existing statutes for conducting sprawling investigations and utilizing government agencies purely for political outcomes. I explained this in The Federalist. Just like I'm not right about everything, okay? I'm not like, but just like I was telling everybody, and NPR quoted me, H.A. Goodman wrote, Clinton is unelectable due to negative favorability polls nationwide and within swing states. That was December 14, 2015. I was quoted. December 14, 2015. And then in 2019, I told the world Comey and McCabe should be charged with conspiring to defraud Americans under 18 U.S. Code 371. The statute is there for people who use their post. If you use your bureaucratic or government job to deceive Americans and to further your own political objectives, for example, or financial objectives, then you've broken that statute. And there's such an emphasis on trying to find intent. Oh, well, they didn't. So the Sussman indictment pits Baker at the FBI against a Clinton-linked attorney. I mean, that is where the 18 U.S. Code 371 comes in. If you're Baker at the FBI, who was the legal counsel that said that, basically said that Sussman didn't tell him the truth, all Sussman has to do, because the defense is the following. Michael Sussman, the lawyer paid by the Clintons, or Clinton and DNC, all he has to do is say, I didn't lie to anybody. They knew they wanted to investigate Trump also. And that's it. And then you get more indictments, very likely of people in the Bureau who committed perjury or didn't tell the truth under oath. Because if Michael Sussman says, hey, everyone there knew, what are you talking about? And he's not going to say it like that, but he's going to give little bits and pieces of evidence to kind of show that Baker and others there knew that he was working for Clinton. Well, if, and this is an obvious, this is so obvious, it's unbelievable. If people at the Bureau knew that they were being given information from individuals paid by the Clinton campaign and DNC, then they might have either lied under oath, or they could easily then be indicted under 18 U.S. Code 371. It's not that difficult. You know what? There was a wonderful Fox News journalist who was she interviewing? She was interviewing somebody on the Durham probe recently, and she said, "Well, we have to assume that that the government didn't know. We have to assume that the government didn't know and they were deceived." Well, why would we assume that? Why would we assume that Comey was deceived? Or that he didn't know who Comey is on record, I believe, as saying he didn't know who purchased the Steele dossier. Well, that's, of course, a lie. Of course, he knew who purchased the Steele dossier. He's also on record as saying Attorney General Loretta Lynch told him to call it a matter, not an investigation, which then someone's lying under oath. Either Comey is or Attorney General Loretta Lynch is. The point, ladies and gentlemen, is that the Durham Probe Special Counsel doesn't need to do a lot in order to prove the intent. The intent linked to 18 U.S. Code 371. That's what I try to talk about in all of these segments. 18 U.S. Code 371 is the statute they initially tried to go after Trump with. And they tried to go after Trump utilizing that statute because there wasn't a statute that said, oh, well, working with Putin or Russia to get installed to become president. Well, if you do that, you go to prison. The whole notion was so outlandish. Yes, 500 viewers, ladies and gentlemen. To the 500 viewers here, just type in, when you're bored, H.A. Goodman and Federalist, and you will get this article. Comey and McCabe should be charged, and essentially for conspiring to defraud Americans under 18 U.S. Code 371. Mikey, thank you. 18 U.S. Code 371. That's the statute. They had the intent. This is not rocket science. Everyone knows that Comey and Strzok and McCabe and Clapper and Brennan and Kleinsmith and Sussman and Danchenko and all of these people who were either indicted by the Durham Probe Special Counsel or purchased information, obtained surveillance of Trump. Like, if Ebrey, thank you, Ebrey, to my super chat. Thank you, Ebrey. Thank you so very much. Ebrey, thank you. All you have to do if you're John Durham is the following. Look at 18 U.S. Code 371. And once you get Michael Sussman, for example, or Danchenko, for example, or others indicted, for example, saying, oh, well, we knew. So he's pitting people against one another in these indictments. Durham is. He is saying Sussman or Danchenko are indicted for deceiving government agents. This, of course, is really not possible. Even though the indictment is pretty clear cut, it's not really possible because they didn't really deceive. The government agents, whether it was Baker, whether it was anyone at the Justice Department, anyone at the Bureau, anyone at Central Intelligence Agency, they all were in on it. They were all in on it. So how do you deceive somebody who's in on it? How do you deceive? How can you deceive somebody who's in on the scam or the racket? Just because, remember the movie Reservoir Dogs? Who remembers the movie Reservoir Dogs? Where people had their names were like Mr. Blue, Mr. Red, Mr. Orange, whatever. Who remembers that movie? Okay, just because you have a whole bunch of people um, under the guise of some kind of different, like you have a whole bunch of people conspiring and working alongside one another for the same cause, yet they don't know each other and they don't know how they got to a certain location, but they're there and they're working alongside one another for a specific cause. That's all you need. Government officials were not duped by Hillary Clinton. That's it. I'm actually defending Clinton here. None of these government officials were duped. Clinton purchased a myth. She purchased a myth. She literally purchased through operatives and attorneys a myth. Now, many attorneys at that law firm are very likely going to get indicted by Durham. A whole bunch of attorneys. But if you get kicked off of this stream, ladies and gentlemen, just log back on again. Refresh, refresh the stream. Exactly. Oh my God, 100 viewers, right there. Right, gone. Oh my God, what's going on here? But definitely 274. We got about 300 viewers are gone just in 2 seconds. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I do not know why that happens. I just don't know why that happens. I just do not know why that happens. But all you have to do is look at these government officials and say, okay, none of them were really deceived. Now, during this special counsel, like I'm trying to state here, the government officials, whether it's the legal counsel at the Bureau, they're trying to distance themselves from these operatives paid by Clinton. And it's within the indictments as well. The Sussman indictment and the Danchenko indictment, the Steele subsource, are filled with paragraphs stating, well, they deceived the government officials. They deceived government officials. They deceived, they tricked, they lied, they gave information that wasn't true to government officials. Okay. The problem, however, is that these government officials did not get deceived. That's the main point here, ladies and gentlemen. That is the main point. The government officials did not get deceived. They were not deceived. They were not deceived. Nobody was tricked or duped in the United States government. Not one person. They're smart enough to understand that all they needed is a pretext. They're smart enough to understand that all they needed was a pretext. So here, here's a PolitiFact article, a typical lie by omission within PolitiFact. It's just a typical lie by omission. Latest with the Durham report is that Clinton campaign actually spied on the president of the United States. False. False. No, it's actually true. But here it goes on to say, if your time is short. In the Durham filing, Scott exaggerates proof of Clinton campaign spying on Trump. This, of course, is not a fact check. The viewpoint that Scott exaggerated anything is a subjective viewpoint and has nothing to do with the fact check. If anything, he probably understated that the information obtained by Trump, while, by the way, in the indictment it says early 2017. So this, by the way, is the American fact check now. It takes a second to obliterate the fact check. If your time is short, well, let's just read if our time is short. A recent court filing by Justice Department Special Counsel John Durham alleges that a lawyer linked to the Hillary Clinton campaign shared with the Central Intelligence Agency internet traffic data concerning networks near the White House, Trump, and other places associated with Trump. The lawyer's meeting with the Central Intelligence took place in February 2017. Okay, now here is where they make where factcheck or PolitiFact.com makes the typical absurd leap of logic from liberal Democrats trying to desperately to fact check and trying desperately to cover up the truth in the form of a fact check. But there's no evidence the data he passed along was gathered after Trump became president. So what? The evidence, number one, was surveillance compiled before and after Trump became president. Whether or not he gave evidence that was compiled after Trump became president is completely and utterly irrelevant. The point of the meeting was to undermine and disparage Trump and to get government agents to investigate him based on information obtained by actors who were paid by his direct political rival, Clinton. How this is seen as an exoneration. John Gibson! Durham moves at the speed of an iceberg, but it moves and nothing can stop. Exactly. Hey, and you know, nobody wants to mess with an iceberg. John Gibson, thank you. Thank you, John. John Gibson, thank you so very, very much. I hope all is well. Thank you, John. Greatly, greatly, greatly appreciated. And well said. Well said. So what they do is they create a definition of what fact check or what PolitiFact will do or what Democrats will do is they'll create a definition of what they consider spying or surveillance. But that's not what they would allow. If Trump obtained information about Clinton and the information states within the indictment that it was a month after she was elected, and then they met with the Central Intelligence Agency to then further an investigation into the Clinton presidency, Hillary Clinton presidency, you better believe that PolitiFact wouldn't be publishing this article. You better believe that PolitiFact would be publishing the exact opposite article saying, yes, you know, it's true that Trump did try to undermine Clinton with information obtained while she was in the Oval Office. So the fact that there's no evidence that data they gave to Central Intelligence was obtained after Trump was in the Oval Office is completely irrelevant, since the indictment states that the evidence Sussman and the tech executives and other tech people obtained, part of that evidence, part of that whatever information wasn't evidence, but information. And John Gibson, thank you again to my super chat. I cannot do this without you. Thank you. We're back to 400 viewers. Let's see if YouTube, if the live stream, if the live stream kicks you off, just log back on, people, because I have not stopped yet. When I stop, I'll give you a lengthy goodbye. like I have not stopped yet, and I won't be stopping for a while now. But John Gibson, thank you so much. Do you see what they do? Do you see what they do? It's this absurd moving of the goalposts and redefining what surveillance is. There's no evidence the data he passed along was gathered after Trump. So if the data he obtained was before Trump took office and it was about Trump, how is that not surveillance of Trump? Do you think that the data... So the PolitiFact is hiding behind the time frame. Is PolitiFact trying to insinuate that they were giving information about Biden or President Obama or Hillary Clinton to Central Intelligence? Because that's what the inference would be. Of course not. Of course not. What they're saying is, you know what? If they obtained information about Trump prior to him becoming president, that's not spying on an incoming president. But it is. But it is. Because you have even if you want to say that, you have November, December, January, and February. So it's almost certain that the information obtained was obtained after Trump had already secured the Oval Office. There's also no evidence the data was obtained illegally, nor did the filing suggest that it was. The data talked about it being exploited, non-public data, and that is another issue that could possibly be one of the tech people could get indicted. Whether or not it was legal is not relevant to whether or not surveillance took place. So yes, it's true that you could legally engage in spying, but the issue is the surveillance that took place. The filing doesn't say the Clinton campaign directed the effort. Oh, yes, it does. Oh, yes, it does. The filing absolutely says that Sussman was paid by Clinton. That's why the man is indicted. So PolitiFact, yet again, ignores the central theme of the Sussman indictment, which points to surveillance, which is that he lied to the FBI because he was being paid by Clinton to gather this information. So how the filing doesn't say that Clinton directed the effort because the filing doesn't have to. What does PolitiFact expect? What does PolitiFact expect within the indictment? And all of this was to benefit Clinton's campaign. Basically, it actually says a lot of things like that, but it doesn't have to. If Trump was paying Giuliani to obtain a dossier on Biden, do you think that if the indictment didn't say this was to benefit Trump, that PolitiFact.com would then say, well, you know what, there's no evidence. There's absolutely not a shred of evidence that Rudy Giuliani or the MyPillow CEO or, John Ratcliffe or anyone being paid by Trump or Rudy Giuliani being paid by Trump to compile a dossier of information on Biden. There's no evidence. There's just no evidence at all that it helped. It was directed by Trump. They don't ever defend Trump in that way. Anything that takes place is for the benefit of Donald Trump. They were even talking about, they keep on bringing up this nonsense Manafort shared polling data. So, what? Who cares? What does that even mean? How on earth would that benefit Trump? Manafort was indicted on tax issues prior to, that took place, or financial crimes that took place almost a decade before Trump ran for president. Ladies and gentlemen, yes, Rick James, everybody here, sometimes for some reason, and I don't know why, the live stream will kick people off. If that happens, just log back on or refresh your screen, and it'll come back on, and you'll get back onto the chat. I have no clue why that happens sometimes. But here, this is an interesting article, and it's a well-written article, and it's a thoughtful article. But here, Durham will inform court of public opinion, but not much more. See, Durham will do much more than that, and that's what this is from today. But as these Durham stories marinate, there is a court whose verdict may yet solidify the court of public opinion. But see, again, it's not just the court of public opinion. So here, so hold on one second. So here we are staring down the barrel of possibly additional waves of findings surrounding the crusade to ruin Trump. Hillary herself took a political event stage this month to throw shade at the attention the Durham filing was receiving, blaming Trump and Fox for desperately spinning up fake scandals to distract from his real ones. Well, his real ones, by the way, are partisan Democrats in New York trying desperately to take down Trump, when none of these partisan Democrats looked at all at the Clinton Foundation or the Uranium One deals or anything that Peter Schweitzer wrote in his book Clinton Cash, or any of the endless pay-to-play schemes. The foundation was obviously and almost certainly a conduit in between wealthy donors. Christopher Hitchens was talking about this when he was alive. They never met a wealthy donor that they didn't like or that they didn't promise a favor to. So you're talking about people who are actually compromised, deceiving and duping millions upon millions of liberal Democrats that Trump was installed by the Kremlin. But they're the ones, whether it's Hunter's laptop or the foundation, that make their money. The Clintons and the Bidens have made their money through government. Government is lucrative, just like it was in the days of Tammany Hall. Trump made his money through business. They're completely different creatures. One is a political creature, one is a business creature. Trump, people might not like his personality, but he made his money through business, through legal means, not through graft or bribery or government. So then the article goes, the evidence of political backstabbing, the Trump collusion fantasy, is no conservative creation. Hold on one second. Durham is not a Trump attorney tasked with rescuing his client from hot water, nor is he driven by a desire to malign Trump critics. His duty is to scrutinize the activities around the birth and subsequent 5-year lifespan of drumbeats designed to denigrate Trump as a tool of Vladimir Putin and Russia. And we're seeing right now, obviously, that what's taken place is you have Trump. He's the president who Putin didn't want. The president Putin wanted was either Biden or Clinton. That's why under President Obama he took Crimea, and under Biden he took eastern Ukraine. I mean, you could see it. It's like right in front of everybody. It's not difficult to understand or comprehend. This isn't rocket science. All of these bad things are taking place under Biden's watch. None of the bad things that we see now, from inflation, runaway inflation. And what did I tell you about the stock market? The thing is tanking. And we're going to see the 2,000 to 3,000 point drops. And I told everyone this. This is also happening under Biden. We're entering a recession under Biden. Because when you push to end economic activity, see, they're blaming inflation on Ukraine and Russia. It's like, that has nothing to do with it. It's just making things worse. But the original issue was also, I wrote about this in the Federalist. I predicted the stock market crash that we're going to see, or that we're seeing in slow motion. When you end economic activity because unelected officials said that you should do so, and then obsess over you know what, because Democrats need an obsession. They can't just simply address whatever issue in a rational, logical manner. It has to be this completely apoplectic, oh my God, the sky is falling. If you don't address climate change immediately, we won't live. And they've done that with Trump Russia. They've done that with you know what. They do that with everything. They Trump Russia like serious topic. JG, hello. So, um, his duty to scrutinize activities. Okay, so Durham may yet find more layers of malfeasance, but that does not guarantee the singular satisfaction. Here, hold on one second. But that does not guarantee the singular satisfaction of a judge handing down sentences to perpetrators. But it will. It will, because it's not difficult. We're almost at 500 viewers, ladies and gentlemen. We're almost there. Let's keep, if you get kicked off, definitely log back on. 500 viewers, people. It's pretty awesome. The Durham probe, it's not that difficult. Durham is running circles around people. All of these former officials at the Bureau, Comey included, they might know people and they might be well connected, but they're still not part of government. Do you know who's part of government? John Durham and his prosecutors. And it's interesting, the less media coverage he gets, it's almost as if it's actually better in a way at this point right now, the less media coverage he gets, even though he does need, like I've been saying for a long time, he needs the support of media. But you're going to have a huge red wave. I mean, we are entering a recession, and prior to November of 2018, you're going to see a devastating stock market crash. I mean, everything that could possibly, God forbid, take place, and I don't want, the worst things to take place, obviously, but you're looking at President Mashed Potato Brains Biden presiding over, exactly, JG. You're looking at the worst president that you could have at this moment in time. Like, we needed somebody to focus on the economy and to negotiate deals with foreign leaders. We have the opposite. What we needed was Trump. But you have, media and Democrats, they're just too powerful when it comes to silencing debate. That's why, look, you have China about to invade Taiwan. You have Russia, really, who just invaded Ukraine without an actual full-scale invasion. And we're worried about silencing Joe Rogan. Or I should say Democrats and media are worried about silencing Joe Rogan. Because they don't have, Democrats and media don't have a handle of what is, the actual national security objectives, important national security issues, economic issues, everything that's taking place. Poverty is increasing, wealth inequality is increasing, inflation is increasing through the roof. The stock market's about to collapse. We're seeing it in slow motion, but it's about to take a gigantic collapse. And I've been telling people, warning people, I have a stock market crash channel, and I've been telling people, JSpot51, hello. From inflation to Russia taking over eastern Ukraine to crime, homelessness, all of these things are taking place. We had inflation at 2% under Trump. It's now 7.5%, and it's actually going to get worse. Then you have interest rates going up. So interest rates going up, plus you're going to have China and Taiwan be another flashpoint in terms of foreign policy. I mean, just all of these things are taking place right now, ladies and gentlemen, all at once. 2022 is not going to be that's why I say focus on your life, love, happiness, success, joy, laughter. Don't let your trajectory in life should continue to go up. The trajectory of your life should be on an upward trajectory. You should always focus on love and happiness in life and people who love you, people who truly care about you and love you. And the people who disown you because of politics, they're doing you a huge favor. Because this way you don't have to be with people who could backstab you or betray you simply because CNN told them to do so. Or because they lack basic knowledge of politics, or they can't possibly admit or see that you just have a different viewpoint. But in terms of the country, in terms of the economy, things are going to get much worse. That's why I say save your money, as I beg for Super Chat. Mikey, thank you. Save your money. Every month, save your money. Count de Monet. What movie? Save your money every month. You know, it's only going to get, the economy is going to get worse, unfortunately. Elon Musk predicts a recession. The Atlanta Fed, not about a month ago, had a 0.1% increase in GDP. Then they revised it to 1 point something percent, but that's not. I mean, that's what we're supposed to have, an economic rebound. The complete fools and imbeciles, the highly educated fools and imbeciles. I mean, you could look right here. Look. Down 464. I mean, what did I tell? Did I not? I'm telling you it's going to go down to 20,000. And it's only going to get worse. Year to date, started off the year 36,799. We're now at 33. We're almost going to get to 4,000 points down. We're approaching 4,000 points down. We're over 3,000 points down. Since the beginning of the year, we are 3,453 points down. And I told everyone, I told everyone we're going to get to 20,000, back to 20,000 in the Dow. And the NASDAQ, who knows how the S&P, probably 26, 27, 2,800. The NASDAQ, who knows, 7,000, 8,000, I don't know. I mean, the thing is collapsing. You ended economic activity because media and Democrats said it's too soon, it's too soon, it's too soon. I told everyone this. That's why my channel grows. It's slow as molasses, the growth in this channel, but it's because I'm super cautious. I want to be able to speak my mind, and I do speak my mind, but I'm super cautious on the topics that I talk about just because, Democrats and morally superior liberals and wonderful people that just, anything really, really interesting is, off limits. We don't have free speech in our country anymore. So, but I wrote in the Federalist, like I said, it's not just, I didn't write about just the Durham probe. I wrote about the stock market crash that we're seeing right now. This is going to get worse, much worse. I will have 500 viewers, unfortunately, just on the stock market soon on this channel. Maybe 1,000 viewers, because it's going to get... Look, do you think hedge funds aren't going to go under? You think banks aren't going to lose billions? You think that derivatives aren't going to... I'm telling everybody, derivatives trades aren't even... They're not even addressed by... They're not even regulated by Dodd-Frank. And you look, and it's like everything. Trump insists Vladimir Putin is a genius after President Biden says... So instead of condemning Biden's handling of everything, media is now trying desperately to paint this as Trump being disloyal. And then they're like, oh, well, the sanctions on Nord Stream 2. They will not, Germany will never give up on Nord Stream 2. Never give up on Nord Stream 2. This is part of their national security. energy. And the European Union won't either. And Russia knows this. More Morgoth of Krant. Thanks, HA. I'll be sure to save up for Biden inflation. Thank you so very much. Morgoth of Krant. Thank you, Morgoth. Thank you. Yep. Save your money. Make sure you have some cash in case, ATMs stop working one day for a week or 2 days or whatever. But make sure you have money in the bank saved up, even if it's $100, $200 every month, save something. $500 every month, save something, because you need, heaven forbid. I mean, in a bank account, in this country, the day, God forbid, that we do what Canada does is the day the entire market completely collapses. Property rights are one of the primary things that make any democracy function. Or, financial institutions. If you'll have a run on the banks in the United States of America if you had an imbecile like the wonderful Prime Minister up north. Exactly, JG, exactly. So here we know, like, my question is, why hasn't AOC written a Green New Deal sanction or a Green New Deal resolution, or helped develop sanctions based on renewable energy to counter Putin? Because we focused on the absolute wrong things the past year and a half. You think that focusing on renewable energies and the emphasis on to decarbonize our economy, you think maybe that helped Vladimir Putin? You think maybe that helped? Look at oil prices. What are oil prices now? And really quickly, the 500 people here again. What did I tell people in 2015? And Clinton is unelectable due to negative favorability polls nationwide within swing states. H.A. Goodman wrote on the Huffington Post in October. And they were so certain that I was wrong, and they said, statements on the wrong side of history. Now, really quickly, let's look at oil prices. Okay, wow. It's almost at $97. $97 Brent crude. We're almost at $100, people. You think that's going to help inflation? You think that's going to help gas prices? You sanction Putin, who supplies like 7% of oil to the United States, but 30 to 40% to the European Union. I mean, the man is out. Have you heard? Look, I'm not siding with any adversary. Have you heard Vladimir Putin speak? I don't speak Russian, but you hear this man talk, and then compare that to mashed potato brains Biden. I mean, it's like a chess champion compared to somebody that doesn't know how to play Hungry Hippo or checkers or Connect Four. Biden's version of strategy is Connect Four. He could probably barely play Monopoly. And Putin, when he speaks, he's like all about national security. The man is like running circles around this administration. We already saw what took place with the withdrawal, with the Doha Agreement. This administration told the world, I mean, this is completely inept, my God almighty. And then you have, last night we talked about like Kramer and others, like, I trust Jay Powell. And then this Kramer, simply the best. Better than all the rest. Here, Jim Kramer. You're simply the best. Dun, 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 better than all the rest. We're buying more of this payment giant. So let's see what PayPal is. So so Morgan, thank you. Simply the best. Do. Kramer's Investing Club. If you want to eat cat food and be homeless, log on to Kramer's Investing Club. We're buying more of this payment giant. And then before we're buying 100 shares of PayPal at roughly $165. 1 month later, it's now 100. Yeah, fantastic. Who needs losing all your money when you have the investing club, Kramer? Yeah. Ha ha, Carl. You're simply the best. I can't stop myself. Can you believe this, people? I mean, these and Kramer is. I don't have anything against Kramer. He's great. What can I tell you? He's a great Kramer Investing Club. It's right here. I mean, and then Facebook too. We're buying 100 shares of PayPal at roughly $165. And then they had terrible earnings. They tanked, and they're now at $100. Okay? You lost almost approaching half your money, or whatever, 70% of your money. And everything is tanking. Every single thing is tanking. Everything is tanking. And it's like, it's only going to get worse. It has nothing to do with Russia, Ukraine. It has to do with an emphasis on combating climate change after you single-handedly caused demand for fossil fuels to skyrocket. You single-handedly caused demand for fossil fuels to skyrocket. Look at this. This is oil prices. All the different, it's all going up. Energy, fossil fuels. Where's AOC when you need her to help us with the Green New Deal? Everything is going up. WTI crude, Brent crude, natural gas, heating oil, OPEC basket, everything is going up. This is a climate change activist's worst nightmare. WTI crude 92, that'll go up over 100. Well, Brent crude will go up. They'll both go up to all-time highs. Look at this. All you see is green. I mean, this is exactly the antithesis of what climate change activists wanted. The antithesis. But they don't, like, when I was on the left, I was guilty of this too. I didn't care. I just wanted to ban fracking. You could see, like, the first video on here. You want to know the first video I did? The first video. Let's see if I could find the first video I did. Just if I can find the first video. Let's see if I could find the first. How do you find the first video? How do you find the first video? Okay, so hold on one second. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, look at this. This is hilarious. This is hilarious. This is hilarious. Oh my god, a blast from the past. Oh my god. When I was part of the cult. Hold on one second. Hold on. Oh my god. October 2015. Oh my god. Oh my god. What is going on here? I was right in your grill. Okay, hold on one second. Let's listen to. Hold on. Hold on. JG, thank you. Okay, so hold on one second.
My name is H.A. Goodman, and I'm an author, columnist, and journalist. I'm going to tell you in about 1 minute why I'm voting and why I'm writing about Bernie Sanders. Number one, Bernie Sanders voted against the Iraq War. He says, I'll be damned if we send more Americans back to counterinsurgency wars in Iraq and throughout the Middle East. Hillary Clinton voted for the Iraq War using the same intelligence that Sanders used to vote against it. Hillary Clinton also has neoconservative advisors, and we don't need to explain that a Republican would have the same type of advisors in the White House. On the Trans-Pacific Partnership, Keystone XL pipeline, Sanders is vehemently against them. He's always been against them. Hillary Clinton just had to recently evolve. She was for the Trans-Pacific Partnership over 45 times, and she was for the Keystone XL pipeline. There's a lot of other reasons. I'm going to keep it to a minute. Basically, just look at the value system. Who do you trust more, Bernie Sanders or Hillary Clinton or Trump or a Republican? Thank you for listening.
Wow. So the only thing, the primary thing that so Keystone XL, I would be fine with now. The Trans-Pacific Partnership, I'd still be against. And everything they say that I changed my value system, it's still the same. Trump is opposed by the Lincoln Project. So that's exactly like, Susan, thank you. That's exactly like there's not much difference. There's not much difference in 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 like I basically, aside from the Keystone XL, I basically my first segment here gave people a reason to vote for Trump. And then here, if you look at my author page, I explain very clearly, and I've given this to friends, and they haven't even written this. These are people, like friends who were like upset with me because I voted Trump, and I even tried to give it to people who disowned me, but they didn't read this. Bernie Sanders supporters should vote Trump in 2020. I gave this to people, and I wrote this in February 2019. I said, here, read this. This is exactly why a Bernie Sanders supporter would vote for Trump over mashed potato brains Biden or Clinton or anyone. I told people exactly, like, why. And if you read the article, you'll see I told people exactly why. And I focused on like economic issues, jobs that he created, withdrawn from the TPP exactly, Black and Latino unemployment hitting record lows. I mean, look at all of like. I gave people all the reasons why. The fact that they set up and framed Trump. They did the same thing to Bernie Sanders. I told people, and then they're like, it's like they can't, like people couldn't get why anyone would. They don't see the link. There's like a direct link between Bernie Sanders and Trump, Bernie 2016, and it's like, I mean, I'm very thankful to the Federalist. Love the Federalist. It's a fantastic publication. It's a fantastic publication. The Jerusalem Post is fantastic also. I can show you articles in the Jerusalem Post that are relevant today that I wrote. But you have a situation where this is only as I beg for super chat, I'm telling everyone here, save your money, people, every month. And I'll even go a step further, okay? JG, Eric, everyone, exactly, JG, exactly, JG, my man. I'll go a step further. And JSpot51, Emily, everyone here, Tammy, I'll go a step further. And I'll go into an area that I don't usually go into. I would also say, Susan, thank you. I would, Sherilyn, you're right. I would also say the following. In the next year, and I know that you might say, what are you even talking about? Be careful. I would say delete your Twitter account, delete your Facebook account, delete your Twitter, delete your Facebook. H.A. Goodman is telling you. I am telling you. Who am I? I'm just some schmuck with 2 YouTube channels. By the way, subscribe to H.A. Goodman's the Stock Market Crash channel. was below in the pinned comment. I called that in the Federalist. I would advise you delete your Facebook account, delete your Twitter account. I don't think you should get on Truth Social. I don't even think you should be on Gab or Getter or anything. I think that you should have zero social media presence. If you want to keep in touch with people, call them, and that's it. And speak to them, and invite them over, or have barbecues, whatever. Do not have a social media presence unless it's a YouTube. Channel, because YouTube is like, for me, I view it as VHS. This is a VHS tape, but it's VHS by demand or video by demand or whatever. But I suggest you delete every social media. Don't be online. Don't, because if you see what's taking place to the north with probably the worst prime minister in the history of that country, I would say CMW. CMW. After 2022 and 2024, the U.S. will be energy independent once again. Exactly. Keep up the great work. Exactly. We're a net importer now. Back to importing. Thank you, CMW. Thank you so much. Greatly, 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 greatly appreciated. Thank you so very much. As always, CMW. As always. Thank you so much. And I agree with you on that. I agree with you on that. I think that we just have to wait a little bit. But CMW, everyone here, get off social media. Don't have a social media, don't have anything that anyone can try to use against you, because I think that people are going to get desperate and try to take everything that you say out of context. I think that you're probably going to find more people. I would say don't talk politics with people. I would say, if people have stood by you this long, they're your friends and family members, friends, people who really care about you. Don't waste your time on people that you don't think care about you. And I think that 2022 is going to be a great year for your life, but also a difficult year for the country. Very, very difficult year for the country, where you see what's taking place. You see what's taking place to the north. And they're supposed to like Canada and Australia. These are like this is what happens when you have the good morally superior liberals trying desperately to pave the road with good intentions. And the road to you know where is paved with good intentions. East Side, I wouldn't get on a Truth Social because it's the same thing as Twitter, which is the same thing as Gab, which is the same thing as any other. Like, just don't get on social. It's a waste of time, and also it could actually hurt your employment. It could actually hurt your pocketbook. Okay, and you don't need to get have a meeting with the office manager or whatever, or a client if you're a consultant, whatever. Oh, I saw what you wrote on social media, and I disagree. So you know what? I just think the next year save money as much as you can. If you are in the market about to retire, CMW, thank you so much. If you're in the market and about to retire, I would say get out of the market. No, I don't want to tell anybody what to do. Strike that, delete that. I take that back. If I were about to retire, I would put everything in cash, make sure that my principal was preserved, make sure that any gains that I had was preserved, and I would definitely not be in the stock market. And you have a situation, ladies and gentlemen, where it is only going to get worse. I mean, you could just, let's see, hold on one second today. Wow, 464. So, I mean, this is, what did I say? What did I tell you? 3,453 points. And imagine if that just took place in a day, which we're probably going to see. The 2,000 to 3,000 points drops. I told people that this is going to happen. I told people this was going to happen. I mean, I said it right here. You can go to H.A. Goodman on the Federalist. Why are Democrats hurtling the United States towards a stock market crash? I said that. Okay? October 8th, 2021. Where was the market on October 8th? So 34.7. So it's still down about 1,600 points. But then it went back up. It went up to 36. Then it went up this year to 36,799. Now the past year, it's only up 1,169, but that's gonna be erased very soon, like probably within a month or so. Exactly, J-Spot 51, exactly. So it's only going to get worse. This is just today. And Dow falls more than 460. It was actually down 460 as Russia-Ukraine worries sink sentiment. But with Russia-Ukraine, here's the issue. The Dow is falling so much not only because of geopolitical concerns, because everything's overvalued and the economy's in the tank. Inflation is through the roof. Consumer sentiment is at a decade low. The producer price index is at all-time highs, which causes the consumer price index to be at decade highs. And so you have supply chain problems that are still issues. I mean, you have key labor shortages in key industries. You have issues, ladies and gentlemen, where all of this is the result of horrible decision making by media, because media unfortunately influences policy. At the behest of Democrats, media was always, the past 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years, a mouthpiece for Democrats. It was a megaphone for Democrats. And that doesn't take a rocket scientist to see that. And when they say, well, the you-know-what caused inflation. No, the reaction to you-know-what. The decision to end economic activity. And I explain that in the Federalist. I explain that. I explain all of this in the Federalist. Wow, JG, let me read that. Wow. Wow, JG, thank you. This is huge. Two prosecutors working on Manhattan resign. Wow. Top prosecutors in Manhattan DA inquiry into Trump resign. Of course they resign. Because if the whole thing is, oh, he inflated the worth of buildings, like, this is New York City. You have the most expensive, if it's property in Manhattan, that's like property in Tokyo. The most expensive property in the world. And Deutsche Bank never accused him of inflating anything. Wow, JG. Wow. Let's read this here. Oh, of course. Prosecutors leading Trump fraud investigation in New York resign. Of course. JG, thank you. Top prosecutors in Manhattan's DA's inquiry into Trump resign. Top prosecutors in Manhattan's DA inquiry into Trump resign. Top prosecutors leading an investigation within the Manhattan District Attorneys. And the fact that the Manhattan District Attorney is going after Trump when you have lifelong Democrats, CMW, thank you so very much, CMW. Top prosecutors leading an investigation within the Manhattan District Attorney's Office regarding former President Trump and his business dealings submitted their resignation on Wednesday. Wow. Let's see. The investigation is whether he had inflated. Are you serious? You're talking about real estate in New York. I mean, he probably undervalued the real estate. At the crux of the investigation, whether assets have been inflated, only Democrats obsessed with Trump would find this worse than anything the Clinton Foundation did. However, in the last month, the grand jury has not heard any witnesses being questioned. One person told the Times that plans for at least one witness. What are you going to do? Have a witness talk about how the real estate in New York isn't that valuable, or isn't as valuable as Trump says it was? Like, what? They're not. He knows real estate. That's the thing. The man knows real estate. So he's gonna, if he valued a building to be a certain dollar amount, he's going to look at other buildings within New York and say, oh, look, these are comparable buildings. But then again, you're dealing with people who work for the government, state government, or these people get paid by tax money. So they're not really going to, like, this, it's like all theoretical to them, and they're desperately trying to find something on Trump and they just can't. CNBC. 2 top prosecutors in probe of Trump organization resign. 2 top prosecutors leading the Manhattan District Attorney's investigation into former President Donald Trump has resigned. Indicating doubts about continuing to build a case about Trump. Wow. The Times, citing people familiar with the matter, reported that Alvin Bragg, the new Manhattan District Attorney, has indicated having doubts about continuing to build the case. Well, of course. Of course. I mean, it's pretty obvious. Of all the things you could go after Trump on, which there aren't really many that they even think of possibly indicting him on. They're never going to indict or charge him. What on earth? How on earth are they going to try to? What are they going to say that real estate in New York? That real estate in New York isn't. That real estate in New York isn't worth what Trump was saying. Obviously, what President Trump did was when he was valuing real estate for Deutsche Bank to get loans, he was looking at other properties, other buildings, other hotels in New York City or in Manhattan, and saying, "Oh, this." If you look at comparable properties, and this is all like Deutsche Bank had a relationship with him. This is hilarious too. They're trying to get Trump on his relationship with banks. Exactly, JG. He's the most investigated person on planet Earth. He's squeaky clean. And the Clintons are investigated, but they actually get James Comey to say, oh, there was no intent. Meanwhile, they're going after Trump for valuing his properties in a way that they disagree with. I mean, it's pretty unbelievable that this is like a huge revelation. You know what? I will do a live stream on this. JG, tonight. So people, be here for the live stream. It'll be about 8 p.m. Pacific. That is huge. Wow. Resignation raised questions about the DA's probe. The Times citing, wow. Criminal investigations. Oh my God. Both are reported that lawyer Michael Cohen that fraudulently misstated its real estate values. You can't. How are you going to prove that? How on earth are you going to prove that? Let's see. 464. So, ladies and gentlemen, be here tonight at 8 p.m. Pacific. Be here tonight at 8 p.m. Pacific. People, thank you so very much. JG, thank you. Be here tonight at 8 p.m. Pacific, ladies and gentlemen. I'll try to put up the live stream link in about an hour or so, less than an hour. People, thank you so very much. To my super chat, CMW, everybody here, thank you so very much. Exactly, JG. Have a great day. Eric, Luke, everyone here. CMW, everyone here. JG, thank you so very much. Have a great day, people. I'll see you tonight, everybody. Thank you. See you tonight, everyone.